You know, like I said yesterday, man, I can keep going back and forth all day with this shit. I mean, this is hilarious. This is so laughable that you Povetkin defenders just won't quit. You're just reaching for anything to prove to you that Alexander Povetkin did not test positive for this drug. And now it seems the new thing is to just sit and bash Dan Raphael as being an incompetent journalist and him fabricating the story, him editorializing the story and twisting and turning it and making it be more opinion than basically just the information that he's obtained. And again, Vada and Wada really can't say anything. They can't get too in depth about this. All Vada does is do the test, and that's it. They don't have any other say in the punishment or what's going to happen. They can't even give their opinion. They can only give the results of the test. And the results of the test were adverse levels of meldonium. That was in the report. And I don't know about you, but adverse is not a good word. I mean, it means unfavorable. It means not good. So if you took an HIV test and you got a results letter and it said you had adverse results, would you be happy with that? That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. So let's look at this a little bit more. So Dan Raphael is supposed to be this incompetent journalist who doesn't report the facts, who basically stretches the truth, according to some of you, putting his own opinion out there instead of just reporting the actual story. This is a man who works for the largest sports website in America and possibly the whole world. Highly respected website. This man has received the 2013 Boxing Writers of America Association Nat Fletcher Award. Excellence in boxing journalism. So you mean to tell me that this guy, this journalist, is going to risk his reputation and risk himself being sued for libel just so he can, put a fabricated story out there? What is the motive for him to do that? What is the motive for him to do that? So as I mentioned, Vada and Wada cannot release statements. Like, they can't get involved in specifics about this whole drug test thing. All they can do is report the results. They can't get involved in it in any other way than just report the results. So where is Dan Raphael supposed to get these magic quotes for? The only people he can talk to are the promoters. And, he said that he reached out to Ryabinsky. Ryabinsky denies that. So I don't know. That I can't say he did or he didn't. I don't know about that. But I do know he talked to Lou DiBella. And, Lou DiBella had said the same thing that I'm going to read to you that Ryabinsky said in not so many words. I'm going to read you a quote from Ryabinsky, and this is from a website called Russia Beyond and the Headlines. This is an actual quote from Ryabinsky. WADA cannot make any official complaints about Povetkin, which I already stated. He had 3 clean doping tests before April 11th, and he had, a dirty test on April 27th. If Sasha, that's Povetkin's nickname, had taken doping in that period, meldonium content in his blood would have been at least 1.5 micrograms, not the microscopic amount of 70 nanograms. It's a residual effect from last year, and we will prove it. Well, to my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Ryabinsky is a boxing promoter. I never knew that he had a master's degree in drug discovery and development. If he has that type of credentials, please someone tell me that. So how is he supposed to know what the residual amount is going to be? Didn't you guys say that no one really knows that much about this drug in terms of how much of a performance enhancer it is? And you guys also said that it's really not known how long it stays in the system, and that's why WADA is continuing to do research about this. So all of a sudden, the boxing promoter would know all this information when the research is still ongoing, but he can make a determination that 1.5 micrograms at the time this April 27th test supposed to be left in his system? So you're going to sit there and make fun of Dan Raphael and Lou DiBella and say, oh, well, they're not chemists. They're not scientists. They don't have degrees in drug discovery and development. But all of a sudden, Ryabinsky does. So we're just supposed to take his word for it once again. And then another claim being made. Well, DiBella's not refuting that 70 nanogram statement that Ryabinsky said. Well, let's hear and let's look at, and let me read a quote from Lou DiBella. The amount of drug in his system still failed the standards for WADA and VADA. That was his quote. So because he's not getting into specifics and not pretending to be a scientist and not pretending to know more than he knows, or at least putting that out there like he knows the science behind this drug, like Ryabinsky is. Ryabinsky is leading us to believe that he knows more about this drug than anyone else, even VADA and WADA. So he knows, supposedly, based off of what? I don't know, but he just knows, and we're just supposed to believe Ryabinsky because he knows. I love that. That's hilarious. So because Lou DiBella is not playing scientist, he's not playing chemist, he's just saying what VADA had reported to him, the amount of drug in his system still failed the standards for WADA and VADA. Adverse levels. What does adverse mean? Like I said before, it's not a good thing. So once again, bottom line, the only people who really know are the promoters because they receive the results of the tests. So you can choose to believe Ryabinsky or you can choose to believe DiBella. And obviously both guys are going to support their respective fighters and they're going to say whatever they need to say to make their fighter look good. So it's just up to you to decipher through all of this and you make your decision. Instead of pretending to know something that no one else knows and having these sources that no one else can talk to but you, at the end of the day, you guys trying to lead us to believe that you have more credibility than Dan Raphael? All of a sudden, if a big story breaks, people are contacting you first and not Dan Raphael? Or Dan Raphael doesn't have access to get information and you all and just you do? So you're supposedly more of a credible source than Dan Raphael, who's been doing this for years, who has received awards for being an excellent boxing journalist. And again, I'm not a huge fan of Dan Raphael. He's not someone who I really look up to or even respect his opinion on a lot of things because I think he can be smug at times. I think he disrespects fighters sometimes. I don't like the fact that he gets in these Twitter wars with fighters. But nonetheless, Dan Raphael is good at what he does. He is a good reporter. He breaks things before anyone else breaks them. Him and Kevin Iole are two very good, reliable sources. And if someone in boxing wants to release something, they want to break a story, they're calling either Dan or Kevin first. They're not calling some random YouTuber who's going to make a video about it, and they're going to rely on that as a source to put the story out there. No. So again, bottom line is, who do you want to believe? Ryabinsky or DiBella? End of story. Not much more that can be said about here. You're not smarter than us. You don't know anything we don't know. And anyone else out there who's pretending that is just perpetrating misinformation. It's all it is. All it is. And of course, opinion is going to be involved in who you believe and who you don't believe. Of course, some people are going to be biased towards one side or the other. But again, if you look at it objectively, it's just hard to not suspect Povetkin took this drug in 2016. I mean, for anyone out there to say that there is no speculation at all in their mind, that they believe without a shadow of a doubt that Povetkin did not take this drug in 2016, I have a hard time with that. That's just my opinion, and you can disagree if you want, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I strongly suspect that he did take this drug in 2016, and until someone can prove to me that he didn't, I'm going to hold on to that thought. Well, that's all I got for now. Until next time, talk to y'all soon, and once again, thank you all for watching. Peace.